So last year, a lot of attention. You got a lot of attention because of the Instagram conversation you had with Bubba. And I think it was in that conversation that you said even before all the social justice stuff started last year, even before that, you had done your own studying of Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah.
And that really surprised me because that's not something I would expect to hear from any driver really in the NASCAR garage saying, yeah, I'm going of my own free volition to research Martin Luther King Jr. And I've wanted to ask you since then, what was it that made you want to research Martin Luther King Jr. and what's that research included?
I think a lot of that came from as I have grown and matured, kind of the same things that I've talked about that I've gotten to inside the race car, but outside the track. I've wanted to be a better person. I wanted to understand things better. And if you don't learn, you can't empathize. You got to empathize to be able to learn what other people are going through and to understand situations from not only your perspective in life. So, that was one of the things that I was really getting into, whether it was the beginning of the quarantine and even that previous off season, was just studying great people, no matter race or creed, whatever it was, gender, anything. I just wanted to study great people. And what was the reoccurring thing from whether it was Mother Teresa, Martin Luther King, just great influential people, and what their, all the speeches and all the quotes and all the things that they say, what was the reoccurring theme in those people and how they approached life. And that was what I wanted to learn. And through that, you learn so many details about great people and how to handle situations in your life. And it was unique how last year played out with all the social injustice and the different things that had transpired. I was thankful that I had kind of gone through my own personal study. I'm not a scholar of any type. I can't quote things right off the top of the books that I've read, but they impacted me personally. So when things came up in life, I had learned, doing my own research of trying to be a better person, to where I felt freer to speak about it, where I felt more truth. I couldn't, it wasn't that I had to make something up that just sounded good but didn't really know what I was talking about. No, I had put in the time to learn and to understand these things because I didn't know. And I'm still trying to grow in that. And life isn't just about, for me, the racing side and going out and performing. I want to be a well-rounded human being. And most importantly, I want to be a good husband and a good father and a great example to my family. And those are things that I think, and what the reoccurring theme was, I guess to circle back between all those great people, was loving people and the proper way to love people. And that was literally the talk with Bubba and the things that I posted, was all because of the way that I have grown and trying to empathize and just love people, and realizing that I don't know everyone's situation. Not everyone knows my situation, but everyone deserves love and deserves to be treated fairly, and deserves an opportunity to speak and speak out. So just trying to learn that from all angles, because I have the way I was raised in my experiences is one way to see things, but then there's this whole, everyone has a million different perspectives in the way that they're raised and experienced. And you can't just say, well, this is how it happened for me, and this is the way I see things, and this is the way it's got to be. I think that's the most ignorant thing anybody can do in life is to try to see it like that. So I've tried to just broaden my horizons, get out of my norm of life, and see things from other people's lives. And my wife is definitely probably the one to thank for a lot of that. And she's always had great perspective, and she's so empathetic towards just people in general, and has helped me grow immensely in that.
What are some things, like books you've read about Martin Luther King Jr.?
I think I read, I don't even know the name of it. It's really thin. It's kind of a thin book. It's just kind of I guess a autobiography, because it's not written by him, an autobiography by him. And I just did a lot of quote research. I watched a lot of YouTube old videos of his speeches and things, and just kind of did my own gathering of research. It was a bunch of different things. I think some of the most impactful stuff was some of his just speeches, just listening to the tone and the way that he, visually seeing that, because it was so much before my time, but putting myself kind of in that moment and then matching it with the moment that we were in, and just seeing how what he was saying then is still the same truth now with the things that's going on, and the way that we should react, and the way that we should treat each other. It was just one of those great tie together moments of history and current present time in my life. And it all matches up with my faith in God. And I think that was the main glue of the whole ingredients.
I have a recommendation for you.
Yep.
I don't know if you have an HBO Max subscription.
Not yet. I've got to cancel one before I plug in the other, kind of thing. I got so many. We're
Yeah,
gonna have to cut some to get some of these new streaming services.
yeah. But on his birthday, actually, on HBO Max, they have a documentary that came out 3 years ago. It's called King in the Wilderness.
Okay.
And it's about basically like the last 2 to 3 years of his life. And how basically when he died, he was like one of the most hated people in America.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and it's really good. And I think you should give that a watch. And I'd love to hear what you thought of it.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely. I couldn't believe what his family had to go through, and I mean, his love to try to his love, or his passion to try to change the world, wasn't held back by anything. And he even had, he had times where he had to, be away from his family at a time of scary risk to try to change the world. And that was just a massive human being of life, of change. And if we could all just take a inkling of that and sprinkle it in our life, is crazy. It would be way different.